So welcome back to my line loco build. Again, we're continuing with the smoke box. So in my last video we were trying to include a ring of rivets that connect the boiler to the smoke box, but we weren't doing very well. So in this episode we're going to have another go at it. It is a prominent feature, so I would like to include it if at all possible. So let's get cracking. So I came across a big piece of mild steel sheet that's 1.8mm thick. So I think we'll have one more bash at this. I'll cut a strip off this and see if I can roll it, put it in place and see what it looks like. So I've just cut out a piece from the plate using the angle grinder, and then I just ground it to width on the surface grinder. I'm going to see if we can roll it. I'm not sure if this roller is up to the task. It's not really for material this thick, but we'll give it a go. So anyway, let's try a half a turn. See what it does. Not a lot, a little bit. Another half a turn. Well, that's looking good. We'll try quarter of a turn. I've got a white mark on the bolt so that I can keep track. Otherwise you could easily lose track. Need to keep it square. Going too far. That's looking pretty good. Just need to trim off the excess. I'll do that on the bandsaw. Be back in a moment. Yeah, that fits pretty good. Just needs pulling in a little bit, which we'll be able to do when we rivet it on. Not too bad. So we just need to put the hole in for the chimney. So I've got the smoke box clamped down to the table, and I've got it lined up with the cutter. So we'll put that on there. And we'll put a couple of G-clamps on. Yeah, it looks good. So I've drilled and countersunk 4 holes, and I'm just putting 4 rivets in. So these rivets will be covered up by the chimney flange, so I'm not taking any particular care with it. So that'll keep this outer shell in place, and then we'll need to put the rest of the rivets in down the sides, which will be seen. So I've been on the card and I've just made up a template for the front of the smoke box, and these would be the position of bolts that hold it in place. Translated those to little marks on the edge of this template, and then I've put a piece of paper around and I've transferred a little mark to the paper. So this is for drilling the rivets, or finding the position of the rivets. So when you look at the actual engine, the rivets straddle the bolt holes at the front here, so we have a bolt here, and the rivet is in between. So the idea is to take this off now, if it'll come off, and move it around. Get this right in a moment. Move it around to a position in between and offset the correct distance, and then I can centre pop the positions of the rivets and then get those drilled. So that's the idea anyway. So first I'll put some die-chem on there. Okay, so I just used my scriber vernier to put a line on there. So we'll get our template, position it in the right place, more or less. Okay. Looking pretty good. I can see that one there needs to be over a bit. Same with that one. Looks better. Okay, that's all them ready for drilling. So I'll just go and do that. Okay, that's drilled, and that side's got the rivets in, just temporarily. See what it looks like. It's not looking too bad. So when you look at the photographs of the actual engine, the last rivet is closer to the next one as compared to the rest, so I've included that feature as well. So I decided to actually put in another 3 rivets on each side at the end of the wrapper plate, invisible on this side, to hold that down rather than rely on these rivets around here. What it actually means is that when I put these rivets in, I can just Loctite them in with some high temperature Loctite, so they're not actually doing anything. So now we need to do rivets on the other side. However, when you refer to the photograph of the engine, there is actually a wrapper plate around here, so there's a step here so far from the edge. So I'm wondering whether to include that. I don't have very much thickness to play with, I could turn it back, say a 64th of an inch deep or 0.4 millimeters deep, and at least it will give an edge. I'll put a bit of a groove in just to pronounce the edge a little bit, and then put the rivets in. Make it look more accurate to the engine. Not perfect, but it's, you know, somewhat similar. So I think I'll set up in the lathe and give that a shot, see how it might turn out. We'll have to be careful, there's not much to hold on to. This is quite flimsy with respect to work holding. So just checking to see how circular this is. So it actually varies by about 15 thou, which is 0.4 of a millimeter. So my idea of taking 0.4 off here and just machining it back a little bit to create an artificial edge, or the appearance of an artificial wrapper plate, isn't really going to work out too well. So I think we'll just have to skip that idea and just put some rivets in. So not great, but under the circumstances I think probably the best we can do. I decided to mount it on the angle plate for drilling, thought it might make it a bit easier. So I've got the centre drill lined up with the scribed line. It's more or less on centre there. So just lined up with pot marks. So that's all the centre drilling done. So we'll just finish off with a 16th drill or 1.5. So that's all the drilling done for the rivets. I did leave a gap here in the rivets because that's what it looks like on the original engine. But I think I might put a rivet in there because I just think it looks better. We'll see. Okay, so the original side plates or scrap. And this piece that I made to go in here is too narrow now, so that's scrap. So I've made another one. I've already put some rivets in So the next thing we need is a ring to go in here with a lot of rivets in. So what I've done is I've turned up a bit of mild steel that I had. So the idea is to put a ring of rivets in here and then part it off to get a ring that we can put on here. So we'll see how that goes. So the spacing of the rivets works out at about 5 degrees. So anyway, we'll give that a go. Okay, so I'm just going to centre drill the position for each rivet. So I'm just eyeballing it to where I think it looks okay. Got a 1.2mm drill, or 3/64 I think that will be. So we'll just go around and drill those holes. Okay, just pop a rivet in. Bit of Loctite. Looks okay. Okay, so 4 more holes left and 5 more rivets left. So that's not bad. Put some Loctite on. Okay, that's not looking too bad. So we'll let that Loctite set overnight. Tomorrow we'll see if we can pick part off a thin pre-riveted ring. Try and say that again, pre-riveted ring. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. So we'll see how this goes. Just take it nice and slow. It's quite a wide parting tool, so probably get a lot of chatter. Nice and slow. Can we measure that thickness? About 1.7. come in a little bit thinner. Sounds like we're into the rivets. Yeah, we're definitely hitting the rivets there. Nothing's fallen out yet. Okay, let's see what it looks like. It's not looking too bad. So I'll have to decide how to actually fix that in place. I think I'll do is I'll drill some holes that will be behind the boiler cladding and drop some Loctite, some countersink rivets in perhaps. It won't take a lot to hold it. So we'll see what it looks like on the engine. Okay, that's pretty much what it looked like. So that's more or less where the wood cladding will go to, so just enough room. So it's not perfectly ideal. Not a good representation of the original engine, but it's somewhat similar, so it's the best we can do, I think. So we'll just have to live with that. So before I finally fit everything together, I'll have to do the front part of the boiler, probably do the chimney base. These side plates need riveting on, so that's in the next video hopefully.